Good morning and happy Monday. It is so great to be back with you. Last week we talked setbacks, and today I wanted to expand upon that a little bit. What I'm going to share with you today is a powerful principle that will help you to achieve more with less effort, less suffering, and more joy. And what is better than that?
Integrative life coach Diane Altomare. It's good to have you to the show.
Author and life coach Diane Altomare.
So, what is it that will help you to achieve more with less effort, less suffering, and more joy? These two principles. Don't fight life and accept what's happening or suffer. So, here's why this is so important. Have you ever found yourself just completely distracted and all of a sudden you realize it's been a few days or a week or maybe even a month since you have been focused on what it is you want to create and have been in action? That is why this conversation and this principle is so important. We're going to face obstacles, we're going to face challenges. It's a part of being human, and it is a part of the journey to success. The more you are aware of when you are in resistance or when you're fighting what's happening and you're not in action, the more quickly that you can make an adjustment and get back to creating what you want. And in a moment, I'm going to share with you a real life example from my journey of building this YouTube community and channel, and how I started to fight life, how I started to resist what was so, and what I did to get back into action quickly. So before we dive into exactly how to do this, let's be honest, this is not always easy to do, because as human beings, we have expectations. We envision things going a certain way, and when they don't, when we don't get what it is that we want, or things aren't happening the way we want them to or fast enough, it can be easy to default to that place of being in resistance and fighting with what's happening instead of accepting what is. I personally didn't used to be very good at doing this, and sometimes I'm still not. I'm going to share with you in a moment what tripped me up last week. But as I've gotten older and a little bit wiser, I have put this principle into practice, and it has shifted everything for me. It has helped me feel so much more at peace and achieve what it is that I want and enjoy the journey along the way. So let's look at exactly how to do this. What I like to think of is I like to think of this journey of life and achieving goals like a game. It's a challenge to see how quickly I can get back into action when I find myself resisting something or feeling upset. The most important thing in that moment is to identify it quickly, process through what you're feeling, and then get recommitted to what it is that you want and begin to take action again. So it's not that we ignore how we're feeling or what's happening. We're not brushing it under the rug. We're actually doing the opposite. We are facing how we feel, and we're processing through it so that we can get the clarity and the wisdom and get back into action. And sometimes what happens is that we get taken by the emotional experience, and that emotion is controlling what's possible. And that's why it is so essential to identify how you're feeling, to process through it, to get it out of your body in a healthy way, and to be able to get back on track and back into action. I have been using this a lot lately in building my YouTube channel and community, which if you were with us on the first episode, you know that that is my goal over the next 12 months. And I recently had something happen that tripped me up for a few moments. And that is, I posted the second episode of our Motivational Monday Coffee Chat, and it had 0 views. Now, that may not seem like a big deal, but it takes a lot of energy and effort to do this, just as it takes a lot of energy and effort to achieve whatever it is that you're up to. And so it's hard sometimes to not get that immediate validation or acknowledgement of what it is that we're doing. So what I did in that moment was just acknowledged how I was feeling. It definitely didn't feel good emotionally to not have any views that first day or 12 hours or whatever it was. Sometimes I get 5 views or 10 views or a lot more than that. But to have a 0 it was tough to swallow. And so what I did in that moment was I connected with that. And then I used this very important principle that I use often in my life, which is to put things in perspective. Putting things in perspective is super powerful. And in this specific example that I'm sharing with you, I was able to look at it and just recognize it's only the second episode. And it's going to take possibly a year. And like anything else that I've achieved in life, it takes total commitment. And so as I reconnected to that truth, I was able to just let it go and get back into action, and views started coming. So to summarize, what I did was I put it into perspective and I adjusted my expectation to not having an expectation, to knowing that anything that we want to achieve is going to take time and it takes total commitment. And in that energy, I was able to get reconnected to my vision and why I want to do this in the first place, which is to share the wisdom that I have gained over coaching people for the past 23 years. And I hope that this is helpful, that you can use this in whatever goal that you want to achieve over the next 12 months. Where is your expectation of what's happening getting in the way? And what do you need to do to let go of that, to put things into perspective, and to get reconnected to your commitment to your goal and to move forward, taking action one moment at a time? So ultimately, we can resist what's happening. We can fight life. We can panic. We can worry. We can freak out. And sometimes we do all that because we're human, and that's okay. But if we want to achieve what we've set out to do, and we want to experience more joy and less suffering and accomplish our goal, the best method is to be aware of the moments that you are resisting and use what we talked about today to acknowledge it, to process through it, and to get back into action. As always, I would love to hear in the comments what you are committed to creating over the next 6 to 12 months. Thank you so much for being here for our Motivational Monday Coffee Chat, and I'll see you next week.